I'll be the first to tell you that I'm not a controller snob. I'm actually not critical about any of the controllers I use. Probably not the best way to start out a review of a controller. Anyway, I don't mind using Joy-Con, but I need them to be in some sort of grip because I'm a grown-ass man with big hands, and sometimes these mitts just need to get comfortable. But what if there's another way to find that comfort that I yearn for? Yes, the wild and mysterious world of third-party Joy-Con alternatives. Today we are talking about the Mobapad S1 HD. Roll the intro. First impression, these things look clean. The black version even gives off some Switch 2 vibes when I attach it to my OLED. Meanwhile, the white version also looks just as sleek. The Switch itself recognizes these as gray stock Joy-Con, and syncing them is just as easy. There's no hoops to jump through, they just work. And that's the important thing here. They are truly a one-to-one replacement for standard Joy-Con, which is good because I destroy Joy-Con. Look at this little guy. No stick drift though. And I'm not looking forward to replacing the thumbsticks on this guy, let alone paying another $80 for a new set of these things. Now, when we talk about the first impressions, one thing I have to point out is I don't love the plastic feel of these. It's probably my biggest gripe with these controllers. And this could just be a personal thing, but it feels like a cheap kid's toy. Check this out. This is one of those devices that does the Konami Code.
You did it!
Just compared to other controllers, the plastic feels less premium. But let's talk about the comfort. This is one of the most ergonomic Joy-Con alternatives I've ever used. The shape provides great support for your hands and wrists without making the whole thing feel bulky. They're still light, like stock Joy-Con. And if you're like me, where you start cramping up right here, after a few minutes without playing with a grip, these are an absolute game changer. Even my beautiful girlfriend, who is working her way through Lightfall, didn't want to give them back. She asked if she could keep them. That alone should tell you something. All right, let's get into more of the good stuff about the Mobapad S1 and S1 HD. I should note that there are two versions of this controller, but we'll get into that momentarily. Now, these aren't just comfortable, they're actually loaded with features that I wasn't expecting. You get Hall effect sticks, which obviously means no drift. I don't know the quality of them, but they feel really good, they feel accurate. The D-pad feels really good. It feels like a great Nintendo style D-pad. And unlike, obviously, everyone complains about the 4-button D-pad on Joy-Con, this is a real D-pad, but we'll get more into this D-pad shortly with the shortcomings of these controllers. And what's awesome is you get all the first-party Joy-Con features. So you get an HD rumble, which feels great, has amiibo support and gyro support, which with Splatoon worked awesome. I don't use gyro a lot, but it worked just as good as my stock Joy-Con. Another thing is it even remotely wakes up the Switch, if that's something that you're concerned about. I should note that there is one missing feature from the Mobapad S1s, and that is the ever important IR sensor. You shut your mouth, Spy Alarm. Another thing I wasn't expecting, it gets even better, is there's a mobile app which allows you to update the firmware. It allows you to remap the buttons on a firmware level. It even allows you to adjust the intensity of the rumble motors. That's something that I wasn't expecting from these controllers. You can calibrate dead zones and stick curves. There's also turbo settings you can configure to enable and disable turbo for certain buttons on the fly while you're playing. And since these act as normal Joy-Con, you can pair them to any system or device that normal Joy-Con can connect to. They connect via Bluetooth. Now, playing with these, it just feels right. The D-pad is great for platformers, anything that you need to use the 4 cardinal directions, but something I have to warn is it's not good at diagonal presses. It doesn't like those, and we'll get into that later. The Hall effect analog sticks are accurate and snap back to the center with authority, maybe a little too much authority. These have a lot of resistance in them, more so than any of my other controllers, and you may like that. That's a personal thing. They'll kick you back. I just prefer a little bit of a softer stick. There's a joke in there somewhere. Now let's talk about some of the downsides, some things I don't like. Obviously I talked about the texture and the feel of these. And like I mentioned just a bit ago, the D-pad really likes these cardinal directions. And this can be a problem with your Hadoukens in games like Street Fighter and pretty much anything else that relies on like a down, right motion. It will miss that diagonal 9 times out of 10. Well, this is probably the biggest drawback from a gameplay perspective. If you don't use the D-pad that much, or you don't play fighting games like that where you really need that tight diagonal input, this may have no effect on you. And so while I was playing, I found myself resorting back to the analog stick. And so that's something that you may have to trade off. So the S1s boast liquid silicone buttons. Honestly, they feel good, but they feel just like normal membrane buttons. They're quiet. They don't have a loud click to them, but they feel good. I don't know if anything groundbreaking. Good response, bounce back, really good size buttons. They have decent travel. Now the button designs, they give off like trying way too hard to be edgy energy. Like the A button's just way too cool to have a crossbar. So functionally fine, aesthetically questionable. Another thing is that they don't fit in the standard Joy-Con grip, and they don't come with their own grip. There are a lot available, even the new Nintendo charging stand, two-way, these will work with, along with plenty of other third-party grips. Even Mobapad themselves has a grip for their devices that you can get for like 12 bucks. I'll link it in the description. Now, there's one area where the Mobapad S1 really shines. That's the price. I should point out that there's 2 versions of the Mobapad S1. There's the Mobapad S1 HD, which I have here, which includes everything that I've talked about. There's also a Mobapad S1S, which is identical, but it has a standard rumble motor instead of the HD rumble. The S1 HD goes for around $40, while the S1S goes for around $30. But if you look around, especially on AliExpress, I found the HD for as low as $37 and the S1S for as low as $24. So is the Mobapad S1 HD worth it? If you want an affordable feature-packed alternative to expensive Joy-Con that also gives you great comfort and ergonomics, man, I don't know what else to say other than, yeah, there are some drawbacks, especially if you use D-pad for fighting games, and some of the feel I'm not thrilled on, but at this price point, I don't know what else I can suggest. One quick thing before I go is I launched a store. It is shop.tynology.com. This is the Ties R Us 95 all over print hoodie, recreated video game catalog sections from the 1995 various Toys R Us catalogs, and in full high resolution. This is one of many products, so if you want to support the channel, check it out. I also have links to the Mobapad from various stores in the description. If you excuse me, I need to return these black Mobapads to my girlfriend. I'll be back soon. Have a good rest of your week. See you later. Cheers.